Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal. Ding, pre-Shabbat. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Listen. We're listening to Hezekiah. The song is titled Freedom Wins 1.5. Yahuwah has told me to cry loud and to spare not, to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion, to warn his people, to warn them that in order to receive Yeshua, they must receive the witness, Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. You have to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. You cannot be established in Yahuwah without the witness. You have to be sealed with Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh. As the people of Yahuwah, we have a covenant. This was robbed from us. We were spoiled. We were forsaken. We were in confusion until Yahuwah woke us up. But see, it was not enough just to merely be awakened. We had to be quickened. You have to receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. You have to be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. You got to understand this. If you don't, you are going to be lost. You are going to remain robbed and spoiled. You are yet going to be in confusion. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray that you will take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahweh, may I do that which you have called me to do. Cry loud and spare not. Yahweh, you have told me to warn the people that this covenant, this renewed covenant, is a covenant that is established in the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. This renewed relationship comes as a result of his high priestlyhood. It comes as a result of him having received the witness, the Ruach HaKodesh. It comes as a result of we having received the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Yahweh, your people must know. I pray right now in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that they would recognize the truth. You said in the Ruach HaKodesh we should know the truth. Truth to make us free. Yahweh, I'm not in captivity no more because of the witness. I'm free. I'm not subject to bondage anymore. I'm free. I pray that your people become free. And Yahweh, your people are not just Yasharal and Yehuda, but your people are those who you have chosen from amongst the nations. That's Torah. That's Ezra. Because Yaakov and Yehuda did not want to obey and keep your covenant, you went to the other nations. It's time of the Gentiles. Yahweh, I thank you for sealing. Thank you for sealing us, Yahuwah. Yahweh, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahweh, bless, watch over, keep those that you have chosen. Yahweh, I don't want to cause anyone to stumble. I don't want to cause anyone to be turned out of the way. I don't want to cause anyone to come up lame. Yahweh, I thank you in the name of Yeshua Mashiach. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, hear the word of Yahuwah. Hear your word at your, hear the word of Yahuwah at his prophet's lip. Hezekiah. Freedom's win. I don't write to this music. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, hear the word of Yahuwah. Our forefathers made a deal. We entered into a covenant with Yahuwah. Broke that covenant. But Yahuwah was merciful, and we renewed that covenant through faith in Yahushua Mashiach. He honored the covenant. He established the relationship. He did everything that was necessary to bring it to pass. All we have to do is receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. All we have to do is receive it in Emunah. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. The time of games is over. The time of games is over. You gotta come out from among you. You gotta come out from among Babylon. You gotta come out from amongst Mitzrayim. Who's gonna deliver you from Mitzrayim? You gotta come out from among Babylon. You can't partake in her rituals. You can't serve at her temples. You can't party at her events. See, because Yahuwah has served, he has sealed those whom he has chosen. Come out from among them. Come out from among them. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, we left off in Ezra, the 13th chapter. 13th verse of the 5th chapter, right? And as again I ponder, mutter over the text, right? I see how Yahuwah long suffered even the prophets. You know. Right? He used Ezra to warn the people. Ezra went into captivity with the people. He was Yahuwah's mouthpiece to the people. He warned them, because Yahuwah told him to warn them. And the people responded to Yahuwah's warning with taking Ezra to naught. Right? To naught. Right? Let me do this. Right? That word naught is nothing. Yahuwah sent counsel, right? Warning. Take heed, Yisrael, you must receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. You must be born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh. You must have Yahuwah's baptism. You must have his Ruach HaKodesh, his water, and the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. He warned the people. But they looked at him as if he said nothing. Prophesied to these people. They knew he was a prophet. They knew he had a word from Yahuwah. They knew that Yahuwah was speaking through him. Right? They knew that there was something that Yahuwah was saying to his people, but they see it as nothing. Right? So not is a pronoun. It's nothing or not. N-A-U-G-H-T. Right? It says the plan came to naught, to nothing. Yahuwah's word by the prophet produced nothing results in the children of Israel. In actuality, it says that they despised Yahuwah's commandment. They despised his covenant. Right? Synonyms for not is nothing, nothing at all, no point, no purpose, no effect, no end result. He delivered the counsel of Yahuwah, beckoning the people to return, to remember what Yahuwah did for the nation in bringing them out of Mitzrayim, from out of that adultery, from the house of slavery, of captivity. Come on out. And he delivered them with a mighty hand. They came forth as an army, a mixed multitude. And Yahuwah demonstrated his ability to keep them, to provide for them, to do everything that they needed. Once they crossed over and they were getting ready to go over Jordan under the leadership of Yahusha, Joshua, Yahuwah had promised to fight for them. And he did. He gave them lands that belonged to kings. He destroyed them before his people. Right? And he required of them that they keep the agreement, the contract. wasn't an unreasonable request, you know. He was their Olu. He was their deliverer. Yahuwah was the Alua that demonstrated his superiority over all of the Els of these other nations, because these other nations' Els could not deliver them from the El of Yahuwah and the armies of Yahuwah. Yahuwah had proven himself to be superior, to be the Yahuwah Alua of all else, right? But the people, you know, he told Moshe, he said, when you leave and go to sleep with your fathers, this people is going to eventually go whoring after other else. They're going to be an adulterous people. They're going to pursue other elves of the strangers in their lands. Going to do it. And as a result, they are going to consider what Torah says as nothing. They're going to see keeping Yahuwah's commandments is nothing. Right? They're going to demonstrate that they do not love Yahuwah. Right? Right? They don't love Yahuwah. Right? Because if they did, he would show mercy unto them. Right? Because he says in Exodus 20:6, and shows mercies unto thousands of them that love him, keep his commandments. Right? But in that 5th verse, he says, and thou shalt not bow down thyself to what? To the 4th verse, the graven images. To the 3rd verse, no other else before him. Right? Nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah Alua, am a jealous Alua, and I visit the iniquities. Right? I visit the iniquities of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generation. This is a contractual agreement. And all you had to do was not put other L's before you. All you had to do was guard the Shabbat. All you had to do was not shed blood, not commit adultery, not violating the marital covenant, the marital contract. Yet Yisrael broke a marital contract with you, the nation. Right? Not to steal, not to bear false witness, not to covet thy neighbor's possessions, houses, wives, and servants. And in the 19th verse, he says, and they said unto Moshe, thou with us, speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not Alua speak to us lest we die. Right? Now the people agreed to what Yahuwah had said. Right? They agreed. And yet Ezra, the man of Yahuwah, who's called to declare the word to the people of Yahuwah, they wouldn't listen. They despised Yahuwah's covenant because they hated him. Because if you love him, you will keep his Torah. Right? Yahusha said in Yehukanan, if you love me, right? He says it in Yehukanan. Yehukanan, is it 14 or 15? It might be 15. He says it, he says in Yehukanan, the 15th chapter, the 10th verse, he says, in the 9th verse, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. Right? For if you keep my commandments, if you obey my Torah, because I am the word, the Torah of you made flesh. If you obey my Torah, and the Torah that I give to you is that which my Father gave to you, which my Father gave to me that I kept. It's the Torah that I will give to you and expect you to keep. I ain't giving you nothing new. For the Yahudim, Yisrael, Yahusha's witness wasn't nothing new. It was a way to reestablish or to renew a covenant that was broken by our fathers' disobedience, our forefathers' disobedience, right? He says, if you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. It's the same thing that you said in Exodus 20 and 6, 7, right? Right? Even as the Father haveth loved me, even as I have kept the Father's commandments, right? And abide in his love. So the connection to loving Yahuwah is through an act of obeying what Torah says. The act of loving Yahusha has everything to do with obeying what Torah says. Right? Because Yahusha says, if you love me, you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. Even as I have kept the Father's commandments, I've kept the Father's commandments. I'm Yahudim. I'm of the nation of Yahudah. We have a requirement to keep the commandments, the laws, statutes that Yahuwah has given. Actually, hey, I am the Word made flesh. I am a walking Torah. And I have an obligation to keep Torah, much like yourself, because you demonstrate your love to Yahuwah by keeping his Torah. Right? You obey Yahuwah by doing that which pleases him. Now understand that in order to keep Yahuwah's Torah, you have to come through Yahusha's witness. You can't just turn the Torah and circumvent Yahusha. Right? Because Yahusha is the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other way. There is no other name. Yah salvation. Yahuwah. Right? Yahusha. There's no other Yeshua whereby men can be, there's no other way that men can receive Yeshua except by the name. Right? You gotta love him. Right? He kept the Father's commandments. So, Ezra warned the people. And of course they did not take heed. He says, Yaakov and Yehuda transgressed. So, I'm going to go to the nations. And they're going to receive my name. And Emunah. They're going to recognize that they've sinned and they're going to repent. Right? Never having known me. And then, he has a people. Right? See, because he also speaks of a people. A people who are going to be robbed and spoiled because they didn't receive the witness. A people that were going to go into confusion. A people who are going to be forsaken. And they ain't going to even know they're the offspring of Israel. Their identity is going to be snatched from them. Yeah, the other nations and their wickedness are going to become confederate. In this confederacy, they're going to seek to remove the name of Israel from among the earth, right? To hide their identity, spend billions of dollars to change everything, to whitewash paintings, to change names, change areas, change locations, do everything in their power to distort. Because it's not really a hard thing if you can inject into a generation or two, three, on that fourth generation, third or fourth generation. You don't know who you are and where you come from, but you become educated in their system, and that education is a method to keep your information, your true identity concealed. You know nothing of yourself except you were slaves taken from Africa. You don't know who you were before because they've hidden that, right? But this people that have been robbed and spoiled, Yasharal and Yahuda, are going to be made alive again. They're going to come to life. Dead bones is going to live again. And Yahuwah is going to blow into them, and they're going to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, and they're going to be a mighty army again. Yahuwah is, through Yahushua HaMashiach, going to select a righteousness from the everlasting plan of righteousness. He's going to bring forth fruit from a vine. Yahushua HaMashiach. And he spoke to Ezra in reference to a people who are going to receive the witness in Emunah. That's me. And that's you. If you have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, if you've been born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh, in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, yeah, that's you. But Ezra, he had received this instruction. He understood what Yahuwah was saying. He went to the people. They did not want to listen. They did not receive him. They wanted nothing to do with it. They despised, hated Yahuwah's covenant, Yahuwah's Torah. Captivity they went. Ezra on his bed, 30 years into this captivity, starting to feel a certain way. Starting to feel as if, maybe there's nothing special about being Israel. Yahudah. Like Yahudah, Israel, they did wickedly, but so did Babylon. Babylon was wicked, but yeah, Israel, it's Yahuwah's people, but wicked. Excuse me. Yahuwah made attempts to get the people to recognize their need for restoration, but they wanted Babylon. But they didn't want Babylon's captivity. They didn't want to serve Babylon. They just wanted to serve the idols of Babylon. Oh, you just listen. You're going to serve Babylon. You're going to serve these elves. And you're going to be made subject to the people of these elves. Because if you serve their elves, then you serve their people. See, because if you come into the witness of Yahuwah, right, through faith in Yahusha, if they come and align themselves with you as a nation, Hebrews, as strangers, right, they had to assimilate into your culture, right? They were still subject to you, right, but you didn't treat them evilly. Because if you did, then it would be a judgment to you. Right? But see, in the lands of your captivity, having served these elves of these other nations, now you're subject to their unrighteousness, right? Their wicked devices. See, you weren't to be wicked. See, to come into a covenant with me, the other nations, even those that came out of Mitzrayim as a mixed multitude, that covenant that they had with me was a covenant built on truth and Torah. If they kept Torah, they demonstrated their love, and they lived in the midst of you, and you had to treat them with respect. You had to love them. And you had to care for them. You couldn't do them any kind of way. See, that's the difference between you and these other elves. Yeah. So now, Ezra is 30 years in, and you seeing the elves that these people served, and you seeing the result of what it means to be under dominion of a wicked el and a wicked people. It didn't have to be this way. But I gave the people what they wanted. Now, they understood that there was consequences. There was consequences to not keeping the Torah. He said, there was going to be blessings if you did what you were supposed to. He'll show mercy unto you. But if you don't, then there's judgment at the hands of the other nations. There's a scattering of the people, right? The scattering was to help cause you to lose connectivity with one another and with the one unified purpose that you had as a nation unto Yahuwah. They scattered you, separated you, made it easier for you to assimilate, right? Even in the captivity of Babylon, the people assimilated into the culture. They took on the identity of the Babylonians. They married their wives. They married their women and had children and produced offsprings. The priest the Levites totally left their responsibility and gave themselves to the culture, simulated into the identity. Suffering yet under the hands of the Babylonians. See, because, they don't care that you marry their wives. Care about that. They care about that. Now, you got elements and sectors of them that, because of the whole idea of racial supremacy, the idea that one race is better than the other, that idea, Yahuwah wanted us to marry within our own tribes. Wanted us to marry within our own tribes. Yehuda was supposed to marry Yahudim. Ephraim was supposed to marry an Ephraim. Yahuwah wanted to keep the tribes, the identities of the tribes together. And as a people, they were all Yasharal. They all made up to 12 tribes. But the idea is these nations wanted to erase your name. They wanted to take you from being a people. So Ezra, again, starts to feel a certain way and begins to confront Yahuwah. He asks some questions that he really had no right to ask, because Yahuwah had already gave him a word, sure word, that came to pass. He didn't have the right to question. Right? But he did. And now the king came and said to him, right, do you think you have to question Yahuwah? Well, the conversation went on. He presented some questions for Ezra, and he couldn't answer. And then the one question that he did answer was a reflection of how he failed to view himself and the people of Israel as if there's something different between what they are doing and the other nations are doing. There's something different between their sin and the nation's sin. Right? Same thing. You wanted that L. With that L comes a people. That people's L is not like me. So you gotta watch what you worship. These L's will have you chasing dreams. Basketball dreams. NFL dreams. NBA dreams. Olympic dreams. Have you chasing hockey dreams. Soccer dreams. Dreams of being American Idol. Dreams of being an actor and an actress. Dreams of being put on national TV. Dreams. He will get you distracted in these L's, and you'll think it's okay. Ezra, put in check by the angel. And we get to the 5th chapter. We left off at the 13th verse, right? And at the end of that 4th verse, the angel suggested that if Ezra was still living at the end of the age, and he didn't know because the angel didn't know. See, the angel could only report that which he's given. Angels just don't go in freelance. Right? They don't hype up what Yahuwah said. Add things to make it more spicy or exciting. They don't improvise. They report what they were given. They report in reference to what Yahuwah has commanded them to report and or say. The angel told him, said, listen, I don't know if Yahuwah's going to allow you to live until the end of the age or not. It's not giving that to me. It's not a part of the message, right? But, you know, if Yahuwah has it for me to reveal it to you, it shall be revealed to you, right? So, he actually begins to expound a little bit on the same things that we find in Revelation's 8th chapter, right? Same events, right? The trumpet. And he alludes to the fact that he says, what verse is that? He says, nevertheless, concerning the token, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell on the earth shall be taken in great numbers, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of Emunah. Right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing that Enoch says in the 93rd chapter. Same thing. Enoch says, and in the 6th week of the 93rd chapter, all those that are in it shall be darkened, and the hearts of all of them shall be forgetful of wisdom. Right? It's talking about the people. The nation, right? And the way of truth, right? It's going to be hidden. Because they ain't going to understand and know the truth. Right? Right? The way of truth. The Torah of truth. Right? Right? And they shall be forgetful of wisdom. And in it shall a man arise and come forth. Right? Right? And during its completion, he shall burn the house down. Titus Vespasian. Burn the house down. Right? It's the same thing. He says, and it shall be taken, burn the house down with fire, and all the race of the elect shall be dispersed. He says, and it shall come to pass that they which dwell in the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, right? And the land shall be barren of Emunah. Emunah is a result of the Torah and the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Become darkened. He says, but iniquity shall increase above that which now seeth, or thou hast heard of long ago. And the land that thou seest now to have root shall thou see waste suddenly. Right? We'll see a shift. Right? But if the Most High give thee to live, thou shalt see after the 3rd trumpet. So, Revelations 8 deals with the trumpets, right? So, he goes on to expound on these things, and at the 13th verse where we left off, he says, to show thee a token, I have leave. He said, in order for me to tell you any more, in order for me to give you anything more, I have to leave. I have to leave, and I have to get instruction from Yahuwah, because I don't have anything else. I only have the word that he gives me, and I don't freelance. I don't improvise. I do exactly what he tells me to do. I say exactly what he tells me to say. And when I do that, when he gives me something again, I will give it to you, right? He says, and if thou wilt pray again and weep as now and fast 7 days, thou shalt hear yet greater things. So, this is what you need to do. You need to pray. You need to cry out unto you. You need to fast. Right? Right? In lieu of you waiting to hear a word from Yahuwah. Prayer and fasting. So Yahushua told the Pharisees and Sadducees, because they asked, your disciples pray and they're fasting? He said, no, bridegroom is here. I'm here. Why would they need to fast? When I leave, though, there's going to be a need to fast. You're going to need to pray. Thou shalt hear yet greater things. Right? And so we have Ezra commanded by the angel Uriel, to fast and pray. Do what you did before. Fast and pray. Pour your heart out to you. Fast and pray. And when Yahuwah is ready, he's going to send me with a word. Right? So then I awakened, right? He was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. Right. And extremely fearful. Because King told him was going to come. These trumpets. Up until the third trumpet. Judgment is going to fall. The fact that the kids are going to be birthed, menstrual women are going to birth monsters. He talks about verse 5. And blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. Right? And a man shall rule whom they did not look for, to dwell upon the earth, whose coming is after the working of hast. We're looking for it. Right? He gonna come. Right? And the fowls shall take their flight away altogether. They leave it. Birds of the air. Right? He says, and the Sodomitish sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. Right? Right, the Sodomish fish. Right? Sodomish is rare, derogatory, offensive. Right? Especially in regards to homosexuality. That's just what the dictionary says. Right? So you have this sea which again, I reference could be people, right? Because it also speaks of the sea, right? And these fish, right, which also could reference men, men in this case, if they Sodomitish, right? They're gonna make a noise, right? Right. And the noise is not necessarily a noise, but a disturbance. They're going to start to create this disturbance, right? Right. The Antichrist or the anti-Hamashiach, that one that comes, whose coming is after the working of Hasatan, he is not going to desire the affection of a woman. Right? He's going to be homosexual, right? Sodomitish. He's going to be perverse, right? He says, right? And where am I reading? Right. And the Sodomite she shall cast out its fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known. But they shall all hear the voice thereof. You remember when Noah was entertaining the Malachim and how the Sodom men pressed on the door at night, creating a disturbance, wanting him to bring out these men that they may know them. Making a noise in the night, which many have not known. People in Sodom knew the noise. Lot knew it because he's heard it before. But they shall all hear the voice thereof. See, because Yahuwah has sprung gross darkness. He's bringing evil to the full. Because it has to reach the full. See, there's going to be confusion. We pursue the word confusion, right? Right? There's going to be a lack of understanding. What is this is happening? Right? It's going to be uncertainty. Right? Going to be unsureness, indecision, hesitation, hesitancy. There's going to be doubt, ignorance, right? There's going to be panic. A situation of panic. A breakdown of order. It's going to be a breakdown of order. It's going to be panic. Have never understood or witnessed this evil like this, right? Right? He says, and there shall be confusion also in many places, right? It's going to be confusion in many places. Now, and again, you have to look at this. You have to look at this and say to yourself, the situation is going to be panic, right? It's not, oh, I'm just a little confused. No, it's panic, right? There's going to be a breakdown of order. Men are going to do what they want to do. They're going to say what they want to say. They're going to press into your house. They're going to drag you out and rape your wives, your kids, your children. They're going to rape men because they are Sodomitish. It's going to be panic. It's going to be disorder. It's going to be disarray. It's going to be disorderliness. Things are going to be jumbled, right? This is under the definition of confusion, a lack of understanding, uncertainty, a situation of panic, a breakdown of order, a orderly jumble, a disorderly jumble, a state of being bewildered, unclear in mind about something. Right? Right? He says confusion places, right? And fires shall be often sent out again. Fires. You know what they do. They burn. They set stuff afire, right? And then Yahuwah send fire. The whirlwind. Yahuwah send fire from the Shamayim. Yahuwah send tornadoes of fire. He says, and the wild beasts shall change their places. They're going to migrate to different places. They're going to start popping up places where they haven't been before. Right? Listen. And menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. It's like in the day of Noah. Right? When the sons of the Malachim, right, had sexual relationships with the daughters of men. And they produced giants, right? But you're going to have menstruous women giving birth to monsters. Right now, you know me, I'm a definition man. And again, this is English, right? But there's something to be said about words that they choose. Monsters. So now, an imaginary creature that is typically large, ugly, and frightening. So they're going to be producing large, ugly, and frightening. That sounds like giants. Sounds like they're going to be ravished by some incubuses, some succubuses. Monsters, right? Frightening. Giants. Mammoth. Right? This is synonyms of monsters. Right? Synonyms of monsters. He says an imaginary, but it's not an imaginary because Yahuwah said the menstruous women at this time are going to produce monsters. Right? They're going to produce monsters. They say imaginary, but there's nothing imaginary about what Yahuwah says in his word. Right? It's truth. they're going to produce creatures that are typically large, ugly, and frightening. Giants. Right? Synonyms of monster. Fabulous creature. Fabulous creature. Right? Mythological creature. Right? Right? Giants. Mammoth. Colossal. Leviathan. Behemoth. Titan. See, y'all better get a clue. You has to gather and secure his people and to protect them and nourish them in the midst of this chaos. But only those who have received the witness. Only those who have been born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. All right, listen. Bro, ding, and the gang. I don't know what that is. Right? Right? Monster. A giant. A mammoth. A colossus. A leviathan. Behemoth. Titan. See, you know, they deal with you in these movies, right? Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla versus Mumra. Or, you know, Mama. Right? These creatures that just come up out of the ground. Start to wreak havoc on the land. Then you have Godzilla, the Leviathan, who is in the waters, in the deeps of the waters. You can't make this stuff up, man. Listen. He says it here. He says, and the women shall bring forth monsters. They did it in the days of Noah. So you got these cross species. Half man, half lion, half man, half whatever that dog, bird, Egyptian thing was. Right? Salt water shall be found in the sweet, and the friends shall destroy one another. Why? Because of confusion. There's no order. There's no one to keep order. Go kill your brother. You come and get your friend. Destroy one another. Then shall hide itself wisdom. Ain't nobody gonna have wisdom. Right, it's gonna flee, it's gonna hide from them. Understanding is going to withdraw from them. They gonna be able to understand. They gonna make sense. Right? So, it says a few other things, but let's go to the 13th verse. He says, now, to show these such things, I have to take leave. Again, I'm going to leave and I'm going to come back, right? This is what you're going to do, fast 7 days, and you're going to weep, right? Right? He says, then I awakened an extremely fearfulness because he reflected on all that he had received, right? It was in him now, right? And in the second night it came to pass that Salathiel, right, the captain of the people, right, the one that was put in charge of the Israelites that were in bondage, in captivity in Babylon, he came to Ezra, right, saying, right, what hast thou been? Where hast thou been? Where you been, Ezra? Right? And why is your countenance so heavy? Why you look so grieved? Why you look so fearful? Where you been, Ezra? Right? Knowest thou not that Israel is committed unto thee? Don't you know that you are the prophet that has the word from Yahuwah, if there is ever a word? Where you been? What you doing? What? Truth is, Yahuwah is giving Ezra to be the prophet in that captivity, to warn the people, right? And this captain came to him and says, knowest not that Israel is committed to thee in the land of the captivity? Don't you know that your responsibility is the Israel in this captivity? Up then, get up, eat bread and forsake us not. You need to break your fast. You need to get up and you need to come back into the city and be amongst the people in the captivity. They need to see your presence. Oh, man, listen. The same people that thought nothing of what he had to say. The same people that despised Yahuwah's word. All of a sudden, they gonna come looking for Ezra. Come looking for the man of Alua. Break your fast. Come be united with the people. He says, then, up then, and eat bread and forsake us not, as the shepherd that leadeth not his flock into the hands of cruel wolves. Ezra was nothing before. 30 years later, now they in the thick of it. He is the shepherd. He is the shepherd of the flock. And they amongst cruel wolves. They were the wolves before. They spilled innocent blood before. They bowed down to these elves of Babylon, of the other nations. And now they serving them. And they serving the people who serve the elves. They wicked. They cruel, right? But you are wicked and cruel. Right? Ezra Don't forsake us. You the shepherd. You're the shepherd. He says, then said I unto them, go thy way. Then I said unto him, go thy way from me, and don't come here to me, and come not nigh me. And he heard what I said and went from me. He said, listen, don't come here when I'm leave here. He left. Right. He says, and so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel, the angel of Malachim, had commanded me, right? He says, and after 7 days so it was that the thought of my heart were very grievous, right? Unto me again. So I'm slipping back into this place of self-pity and concern. Why is this? These are Yahuwah's people. And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again. Right? Began to have questions, discussion with the Most High again. 7 days later. Right? And said, O Adonai Yahuwah, that beareth rule of every wood of the trees and all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine. These are for the nation. Right. Now, he's also referencing Yeshua Mashiach. Yeshua said, I'm the vine, my father's the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, Father taketh it off. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purges and he prunes in order that it may bring forth more fruit. But he's the vine. That's John 17. Right? Right? You only got one. Got plenty of trees. One vine. Right? Yahushua. He said, and of all lands and of the whole world, thou hast chosen one pit or one place. And of all the flowers, one lily. Yahushua is the lily. Bright and morning star. Yahushua. One vine, one lily, one place. That's the continent of Africa, specifically south of the Sahara. Towards the equator and a little bit under the equator. Right? He says, and of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled the one river. Euphrates? Jordan? One river that runs through the continent. That's Euphrates. Right? That's the Nile from Egypt. Euphrates runs through the continent. One river. Right? He says, in all the depths of the sea, thou hast named thee one. No. The depths of the seas, thou hast filled thee one river. River that flows through the continent. Right? And of all buildings, of all builded city, thou hast hallowed Zion. Right, so you got the land, the continent, you got the city, Zion, right? Jerusalem, right? One city to thyself. Right? Jerusalem, where he placed his name, he put his temple. Right? One city. Right? He says, and of all the fowls that are created, thou hast chosen one dove. You know, I own doves. That's right. Ring-necked doves. I wanted doves. I bought me some doves, built a cage and everything. Really compassionate, kind of passionate birds, but you know, I had to get rid of them because they, you know, they make these noise. Woo, woo. We trying to sleep through making these noises, right? But you chose the dove. You chose the eagle. You chose the eagle. The eagle has been the object of Yahuwah's vengeance. All these heathen European countries share the eagle. It's not the eagle. It's the dove. Right? It's the dove. Right? He says, and of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep. These are all references to Yahushua HaMashiach. One land. One city. One temple. One nation. One river that flows through the continent of Africa. One river. Boy, listen here. And Yahushua, that river gonna come through again. And it's gonna fill that which it has dried up in. It's gonna run through again. Just like it ran through during the time of Ezra. See, listen, you gotta understand, right? Wickedness coming to a full has put creation in a depleted state. Their wicked pursuit of capital has driven them to recklessly cause creation to suffer. That's why creation is waiting earnestly for the manifestation of the sons of Elua, because see, we are going to put things in their place. Who has raised us up, we going to reign with him. We going to oversee with him. We going to have crowns. We going to serve with him. One sheep. Yehukanan says that, and Yehukanan, he says, and you know me, I love Yehukanan. I love Yehukanan. Yehukanan says in 1:32, and Yehukanan bore a record saying, I saw the Ruach HaKodesh descending from the Shamaim like a dove. Take that one bird. And that one bird lighted on Yahushua. Yehukanan said, I saw the Ruach HaKodesh descending upon the Shamaim like a dove, and it abode on him, right? Right? He said, matter of fact, let me go up a little bit further. Let's go up to the 29th verse. Right? He says, and the next day, Yehukanan, seeing Yahusha, right, coming upon him, and said, behold, the Lamb of Yahuwah, which takes away the sins of the world, right? And on this same Lamb, Yahusha, the Ruach HaKodesh descended upon like a dove. He says, listen. He says, and among all the people, multitudes of people, thou hast given thee one people. Right. One people. And unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a Torah that is approved of all. They agreed to the covenant. The people, the 12 tribes, those that were amongst the other nations, that were the mixed multitude, everyone had approved. We're going to do this, right? Right? Now this is what Ezra said. And now, O Adonai, why hast thou given this one people over unto many? He gave the lamb up for many. The world. Yahushua Mashiach. See, listen. We had to suffer. See, this has to come to a full. You have to receive the witness. You have to receive Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh, his water and his blood. You have to be made free from sin. And then you have to, by allowing the Ruach HaKodesh to come into a temple that is swept and clean, that is garnished. Now you have to endure to the end in order to be a part of his kingdom. See, this has to come to the full. The nation has to do this. The nation has to do this. You has chosen Jacob to do this. See, in the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, he's revealing the sevenfold doctrine of creation. He's revealing the necessity of the Ruach HaKodesh by the Ruach of wisdom and revelation concerning your knowledge of your witness of Yahushua Mashiach and Yahuwah. Ezra didn't have this Ruach understand. He had Ruach HaKodesh's understand. He had the Ruach of wisdom. Ezra, he says, now, why hast thou given this one people over unto many? Ezra, this people chose the allure of these enemies. They chose to worship Baal in the temple of Yahuwah, in the city gates of Yahuwah. They chose to put groves in the land of Yahuwah. They thought that they could still keep feast days. They could still keep Shavuos. They could still keep new moons, right? And serve idols. Still think that you could serve Baal. You could serve Ashtaroth and Isis. You can serve Diana, stripper clubs. Give her your offering. Give those strippers your offering. Those temple of Diana goddesses. Still, you can get away with this. You can do this. Still think that it's okay to worship on Sundays. Worship your elves on Sundays. Ezra. He said, why hast thou scattered thy one and only people among many? Right? Why did you do this? Because, he's in his feelings now, right? Because he's in his feelings. 7-day fast, He's in his feelings. He's praying. He's in his feelings. His heart is deceiving. He's in his feelings. He knows the contract. He knows it's a covenant. Yahuwah gave you to the elves that you served. Your ancestors served. And I know you grieve for your ancestors because you didn't serve that elf, right? But they did in their wickedness, and you were called to declare it unto them, and they didn't find the need to listen. They didn't find it necessary to listen to you. Anything you said. They despised Yahuwah's covenant, his Torah. He says, why hast thou scattered thy only one people among many? Because Yahuwah is going to send them in confusion. He has already decided the outcome. They were forsaken. They was robbed, spoiled. They chose to serve other else, to enter into an idolatrous relationship, committing spiritual fornication against Yahuwah. And Yahuwah had the right to put her away. Right? In that putting away, she lost who she was. She became a widow. She became a wife who had kids, a widow who had kids, who had sinned against Yahuwah. Kid that was robbed and spoiled. Deuteronomy 28:15 and 68 tells you to what extent they were robbed and spoiled. These are heathen nations. These idolaters. These blood drinkers. These flesh eaters. Human flesh eaters. It's diabolical. Pornonia people. They've been scattered amongst them. And it's happened to Ezra because they despise my covenant. So, I am going to have another people. Yeah, because, see, this people, descendants, down the road, are going to recognize that they were a people robbed and spoiled. They're going to recognize that they are dead man's bones in a valley that need to come together. They're going to come to themselves. And then they're going to come to faith in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and I am going to sprinkle clean water on them. They're going to be baptized. And they're going to be baptized with the Ruach HaKodesh, and I am going to put my Ruach HaKodesh in them, and they're going to keep my judgments and my statutes. See, that's the plan, Ezra. See, you don't see the plan. Because you in your feelings. 31 years into this captivity. 30 years. Right? He says, and they which did gainsay thy promise, right, and believe not thy covenant, have trodden them down. The nations. Of course the nations didn't believe in the covenant because the covenant wasn't given to them. Yeah, they trodden down the people because the people were despising the covenant themselves. Yahuwah said that you profaned his name amongst the heathen. The heathen profaned his name, and then you profaned his name amongst the heathen. You know better. Israel is no better. He said, and believe not thy covenant, and have trodden them down, the people down. He says, and if thou didst so hate thy people, yet shouldst thou punish them with thine own hands? Now, Now Ezra's questioning Yahuwah's love for his people. See, Ezra is going from what he understands and perceives in his heart with his understanding, which is earthly, it's natural, it's not divine, it's not heavenly, it's not Yahuwah Elua's thinking. It's his. And he's questioning. He's questioning Yahuwah's love for his people. Right? He said, if thou didst so much hate. See, now Yahuwah shows mercies unto thousands that love him and keep his commandments. Right? But Yahuwah visits the iniquities of the fathers unto their children, to the third and fourth generation of them that hate him. And you hate him by not keeping his commandments, his laws and statutes, his Torah. That's a demonstration that you do not choose him. You do not love him. These actions are a result of your failure to love him. Well, see, he so loved you that he gave you one lamb, one dove, one lamb. Excuse me, and he's restored it if you have faith, emunah, in the witness of Yahushua. Right? So why didn't you punish them with your own hands? You was, I have. I gave them what they desired. They desired these elves. They desired to be like the other nations. Gave them what they want. But what they've recognized that it's not what they thought. They went into captivity. I told them what was going to happen. Told them what was going to happen. I told them what's going to happen. Now, we're going to stop there. Right? We're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. Verse 31. You must understand that the wickedness must come to a full. Ezra wants the deliverance in a time when the wickedness had not yet come to a full. Ezra wants the nation to be delivered when the nation hasn't, and its wickedness hasn't come to the full. It was over 1,000 years before Yahuwah waited to judge the first at the flood, right? 1,000 years. Better, right? And Yahuwah judged. Wickedness had come to the full, became intolerable. Sons and the daughters of men, the sons of Malachine and the daughters of men producing monsters. I understand. He was trying to get you to come under this witness, that he may save and deliver you, that he may sanctify you, that he may set you apart. You ain't Israel because you say Yahweh Shai and Yahweh. You ain't Israel because you say Yahuwah and Yahusha. And you definitely ain't Israel because you call in Jesus and the Lord and God. You're his because you've received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Right? Yah salvation. You know, I drive Uber, and I picked up a young Hebrew. And, you know, I got this thing on my window, you know, I'm hanging from my mirror that says Yaakov Yahuda, and there's a lion in the center of it. Something that I made. He was like, oh, man, I like that. What's that? Is that he? I said, Paleo Hebrew. He said, oh, yeah, wow, it's okay. So you're Hebrew? I said, yeah. You Hebrew too? He said, yeah, no. He gets talking. He said, yeah, you know, he's asking me questions now, you know. Like, okay, where you going with this? Is his name, what do you call him? I said, you and Yush. So you know they ain't no you, you know they ain't no E. He said, you know, that's Yiddish. He said, you know his name is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? Okay. Yahweh. Okay. But I know where you're going. And, you know, he asked me another question like that. So what do you think the mark of the beast is? I was quiet for a while. He said, ask him what he think it is. I said, well, what do you think it is? He says, oh, well, it's this whole push that President Biden's trying to do with the digital. He's trying to get the what you call those things that he's trying to he actually trying to get Africa to help him, give him what he needs so that he can build his own chips. He ain't got to get it from China, you know, but his own chips. You know, it's chips. You know, chips is the process. Just, you know, you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell with them. You know, that's the beast. Okay. You know, he said a few more things. What do you think? Yeah, well, you know, I know, you know, there's things that's gonna happen. You know, I think, but at the end of the day, it's about faith. And you know, Yahweh. He said, well, what's his name? I said, well, you know, his name is, I mean, when you spell it, it's it's YHWH. You know. He said, yeah, well, you know, that's what Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Okay. I mean, it's okay, you know. Yahuwah. You know, Yahweh. You know, Alua. You know, Aloi. You know. Then when he got the car, dropped him off, comes to right. He said, well, Shalom. I'm like, yeah, Shalom. What? I might have said Shalom. Can't remember. Anyway, still want you to have peace. I said, so where'd you get your teaching from? He said, I think he said OMS or OUS or OMS. Oh, anyway, one of them camps. Gotta have the witness of you, Shemashiach. You have the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, there's nothing wrong with studying. I've studied. You know, there's nothing wrong with gaining information. I've gained information. But you know what? At the end of the day, you better be teaching people that they need to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach in order to make it. That should be your witness. That should be your testimony. That should be what you tell. Listen, I don't worry about the mark of the beast. I don't worry about none of that. He said, so what do you think? You know, I said, well, what do you mean? He said, what do you think about America? I said, well, you know, America is doomed. It's destined for doom. You know, I mean, it is. It's destined for doom. You know, and if I can, I'm going to go to the continent just because I want to be as close to you as I can. He said, but you know, the continent's going to be messed up because, you know, that great war going to happen on the continent. Okay, so you get bombed into oblivion in America or to the continent. Yahuwah's going to take his people to a place, right? And it doesn't matter because I have his Ruach HaKodesh, and if I step foot on the continent, he's going to gather me and take me where I need to be there. You know, I just choose not to want to remain here. Our currency is taking a nosedive. Man, if y'all want me, it's about the witness. You can't be so into a camp or an ideology or a philosophy. You can't twist up and get caught up in this paganism and thinking that Yahuwah is all right with it. You're going to be judged. You're going to be judged. We're going to pick up the 31st verse on the Shabbat. Yahweh, I give you praise right now for your word. I just pray that your word goes forth and that those who have emunah, that you have chosen to receive it, would receive it. I pray that you would strengthen them by power and by might. I pray that you would quicken them. I pray that you would make them alive. I pray. Yahweh, I thank you for that young brother that was in my truck. I pray that in all things, in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, you would bring all the truth that comes with the Ruach HaKodesh that you have for him, that he may be complete and entire, lacking nothing. That you would lead him by your Ruach HaKodesh. Yahweh, I pray for all those that are under the sound of my voice. You will let the word of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called the greatness, woman of Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Today, Yahuwah's favored you. I praise Yahuwah for having given me the witness and having given me the Ruach HaKodesh and having provided me with understanding of his word. I pray that this would be a blessing to you. And again, you know, subscribe, share. Why? Because it's the Ruach of truth. It's the word of truth. Right? That's why. Right? There's nothing to be gained from me from this except fruit. And I want my fruit to remain. So, with that I say, man of Yah, called the greatness, woman of Yahuwah, called the greatness, beautifully, wonderfully made. Today Yahuwah's favored you, right? And again, today Yahuwah's favored you, right? Trust in him and be committed to the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. With that I say, shalom, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Be blessed.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.